Rev it up and welcome to Cars Yeah, show number 2434. Have you ever dreamed of having a house with a big garage, place to put all your toys, do all the fun things you love to do? Well, my guest today will help you find just such a home. Be prepared to be inspired.
This is Cars Yeah, where you'll enjoy interviews with inspiring automotive enthusiasts. Mark Green is here to provide you with a fuel injection of automotive inspiration. So get in, sit down, buckle up, and get ready for a wild ride here on Cars Yeah.
Hello, inspiring automotive enthusiasts, and welcome to Cars Yeah. Today I'm in beautiful sunny Scottsdale, Arizona, with a very special guest by the name of Peter Zaidan. Peter, welcome to Cars Yeah. Do you have it in gear, and are you ready to release the clutch?
We are in gear and ready to go, Mark.
Ready to have some fun in the garage, and you'll understand what I mean, listeners, in just a moment. But first, I'd like to ask my guest this question. What's one little thing that people don't know about you, Peter?
So everything I do is exactly what my business is.
Okay.
And so my social life, and I'll probably mention this sometime, my social life and my business life are the same thing.
Well, sounds like you figured out the secret sauce to life, and that's what Cars Yeah is all about, is how to wrap your passion for automobiles into your career, your hobby, your life, and your profession. So you're a good fit here, Peter.
I agree with you.
I agree with you.
I agree with you.
Well, very good. Well, let me give you a proper introduction here. Peter Zaidan is a Scottsdale, Arizona-based luxury realtor who has blended his lifelong passion for automobiles with his real estate business. He owns Homes for Car Guys, that's the number 4, Homes for Car Guys, at Russ, Lyon, Sotheby's International, and specializes in finding and selling garage-centric properties in Scottsdale and nationwide. Enjoying the amazing car scene in the Valley, that's in Arizona there, Peter saw a need for specialized consulting, so he created Homes for Car Guys and specialized in selling homes with large garage spaces that cater to car collectors and people who need a little more space for their toys, like you and me. Most homes are not set up for these car collectors or track enthusiasts, and that's where Peter comes to save the day. He specifically searches for homes in his network and appropriate garage setups for collectors and enthusiasts alike. Understanding the intended use of the garage is key, whether it be a display garage, a workshop garage, an entertainment space, or as he calls, a car cita. We'll be back in just a moment, but first a word from our sponsors. So give them a little love and we'll be right back. We're going to have some fun today. Years ago, when it was time to renew my collector car insurance policy, my carrier's rates went up, way up, but my usage was the same and I never made a claim. I didn't even have a ticket. So what's with that? So I turned to American Collectors Insurance. Has your collector car insurance recently raised your rates for no good reason? Tired of paying an annual membership fee? Then it's time to look around and call American Collectors Insurance. I shopped around, I asked friends for recommendations, and found a winner that I can trust. And boy, I'm glad I did. I saved hundreds of dollars every year and slept better at night knowing my baby was properly insured. American Collectors Insurance have been protecting vehicles since 1976. They provided me with an agreed value insurance policy backed by their history of taking great care of their clients. What could be better than that? So give them a call and ask for a quote today. 866-ACI-YEAH. That's 866-224-9324. And protect the ones you love like I did with American Collectors Insurance. Classic car insurance designed by collectors for collectors. For several years now, you've heard me talk about Linkage Magazine. I've been a subscriber since the start. Their talented and creative team brings you a spectacular publication and website that shares the automotive passion from a worldwide perspective. Linkage is about driving, restoring, collecting, and first-hand experience at collector car auctions and more. They bring you real-world values plus rational, experienced opinions on the current markets. They cover the automotive world and the people who share our passions. And Linkage Magazine has grown, mailing you 6 issues annually. Join me on this journey with Linkage. They're geared for the automotive life. You can subscribe at linkagemag.com. So, Peter, I want to go back in time a little bit before we talk about what you're doing today and what brought you to this point. Have you always had a career in the real estate industry?
No, not at all. I lived on the East Coast in Philadelphia, and we were in the food business. I was in the food business for about 30 years, and it kind of prepares you for real estate. It teaches you that service is what it's all about. And so, yeah, I mean, I came out of food and I didn't really enjoy that career. I told my dad I wanted to be a Ferrari mechanic when I was about 15 years old. and and my dad said, no son of mine is going to be a mechanic. And he didn't really understand it. And so I kind of moved away from that and, off I went to college and, that route. And then I ended up getting in the food business, which I didn't need a degree anyway. And so when I moved to Scottsdale, I said, this is my chance to do what I want to do. And I kind of created a path for myself, and I've been on it ever since.
Well, this is a good story, and it's perfect for the Cars Yeah focus, and that is people that have wrapped that passion, what they have, into what they do. And what I'm hoping I've done over the last 9.5 years is introduce people that there are all sorts of ways to make a living in the automotive sector. And when you think about homes, I've always said this, the garage is typically the biggest room in the house, but it's the least focused on. And every time my wife and I have bought a home or moved, the first place I go is the garage. Like, okay, what's the garage like? Is it finished? Is it big enough? All these types of things. And many times, even in spec homes or new homes, they have the door to the garage locked. You can't even look in there, typically because they've thrown all their junk in there. And I've always thought, well, you know what? I mean, a lot of people use their garage for a lot of different things, but if you're a car guy like you and I, it's an important place. It's where we spend a lot of time. So let's dive into, when did your homes for car guys begin? At what point did you realize this is a part of the sector? Because I assume you sell homes also that don't have big garages, but this is a place I want to focus to help those people find the homes that fit their lifestyle.
I when I moved here in 2014, I was really trying to come up with something different. I knew that I didn't want to go back into the food industry. It was just, I was tired of it. I was finished. And everyone was throwing me, hey, why don't you open a chain of these? And why don't you open a chain? And it was all food related. And so I spent some time just kind of thinking about what I wanted to do, and something, it's not often that you get a chance to hit the reset button.
No, that's a bold move.
Yeah, I didn't have a job when I moved here. And so versus coming out of an established business. And so I knew that I wanted to kind of retire here, but I was 20 years early for retirement. So I wanted to create something that I could really enjoy and something I was passionate about. And I kept going to these car shows and Cars and Coffees and all these events. And I was just blown away by the amount of exotic cars that were here, of special cars that were here, of classic cars, vintage cars. They were just everywhere. And you're just walking down the street and, a Lamborghini Aventador flies by and you don't even look. You're just like, oh yeah, there goes an Aventador, another one. That's really bizarre for me to be in that kind of environment. And so, I started thinking about how I could fit into that world with my own passion. I thought about, getting into sales, car sales, and that just really wasn't the direction I wanted to go. I don't really care for sales very much. But real estate is more customer service than it is sales. I'm not selling you anything. I'm connecting you with something that you're looking for. And so it's a very, very different way of looking at that. For me anyway, it's different.
Well, I'll tell you something. You're a brave dude. And my hat's off to you. I have a friend who came up with a great quote. I even created a meme out of this, and I posted it and sent it to friends who are thinking about making a change. The gentleman's name is David Sweet, and he said, to make the decision to call forth change in your life, your thoughts, and your consciousness, that is the edge of courage. And I truly believe that is, you think about a major shift like that, and the ability to do it is quite a challenge. I know, because 9.5 years ago I did it when I came up with the idea, thanks to my son, to do a podcast, and everybody looked at me like, wait, you were running a company, you built a brand. What are you doing? A podcast? That's what the young kids do. They don't do podcasts. And yeah, here we sit. Your show number 2334, or 2434, I should say. So let's talk about how you put this whole plan together, because I have my grandkids, my daughter and son-in-law live in Arizona, and we try to get over there about every 90 days. And you're right. I'll take him for walks down the street, and you say a Lamborghini. Aventador drove by last time I was there, and he perked up. He's only 2 and, said, car. And I go, yeah, that's a Lamborghini. And I got to go to a couple cars and coffee events in the mornings, and there's a big car culture there. So you had the right setting. You had a place you were going to retire in. So how did you come about the focus of this whole thing as far as building the brand? Because I mentioned in the intro, you're aligned with a big name, Russ, Lyon, Sotheby's International. Did you have to sell the idea to other people that this was one of the part of the niches you wanted to focus in on?
No, I had to starve for quite a few years. And I guess entrepreneurs do that frequently. The very beginning, I remember talking to my dad about what I wanted to do. And he said, well, the roads are all beautiful there. Everything is beautiful in Arizona. Where do they get their money from? And
it's all imported.
What's that?
It's all imported.
A lot of it's imported from every state around. Yeah.
Yep.
A lot of the income here is from real estate, and it's from that natural growth that we're seeing, the expansion that we have. And so I said, maybe that's the direction that I should head, just from brainstorming with him. And then I went and I got my real estate license, and everyone said, well, you can't do that. You have to sell regular houses too, and I didn't want to do that. And so I kind of stuck to my ideas and said, I'll sell regular houses, but my goal is to do this. And so it took years and years of organic growth, of getting to know everybody and getting to know the scene here and understanding, really, really what the culture is here. Different parts of town have completely different cultures. If you're out on the northwest part of town, those are all muscle car guys. There's lots of Harleys there. There's lots of speed boats, and there's lots of regular boats because they're close to a lake. If you're over in North Scottsdale, that's, Porsche and Ferrari country. If you're downtown, you have the super exotic. You're down in Paradise Valley, and these guys are living in $30 million houses, and they can have anything they want. So it's amazing. As you go to different parts of town, you see different structures, different styles of garages, different styles of car collection.
Well, what's the key to real estate? 3 words, right? Location, location, location.
That's all of it.
That's all of it. My guest on the show previous to yours was Tony Principe, and he's a big-time developer in Southern California, and he's the one that has created, along lines of all his commercial real estate, Finish Line Auto Club, which is one of these man cave condo type things, but it takes it to an entirely different level. And as you were describing this, how you were building your brand, he started from the bottom too. He was a commercial real estate broker, and now he went into a business his dad had established, but he had to start at the beginning and learn how to sell real estate, learn how to think about how to develop, because most real estate commercial guys want to become developers. That's the dream, right? They can just build stuff. So for you kind of took that same path, but with houses. So let's talk a little bit, have some fun with some of these houses that you sell, because you have a way where, and I'm signed up and I get your emails, and I'll put a link to that on your show notes page where people can go and sign up and get your notifications of houses that are available. And I sit there and just salivate and go, oh, what if? Look at these houses. So how have you tied yourself into the community so that people now know you as the Homes for Car Guys Realtor?
So there's a lot of houses that are available, right? Right now, there's 16,000 houses for sale in the Valley. And I'm just doing this live. If I type in 5-car garage at any price point, there's 335.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that narrows it down.
It narrows it down just a little bit, right? And so if you're working with someone that is focused on that, I'm kind of doing it backwards. Instead of marketing a house to the 60,000 realtors that are here in the Valley and saying, hey, this is what I have, I'm marketing the house to the buyer. I'm going to that guy that's desperately looking for it. And, when I first started, I was at Barrett Jackson standing in line behind a guy, and we just started talking, and he said, conversation led to real estate. And he said, man, I wish I met you a year ago. I was trying to buy this house in California, and I kept telling my agent there that I had a vintage motorcycle collection, and I wanted to really display them properly. And she kept sending me 3-car garages. And he said she had no idea what I was actually trying to accomplish.
Yeah, of course not. Well, she didn't know that character, and you and I are that character, right?
Yeah, well, and it's a unique thing, and so I am a car guy from beginning to end, and I talk to these guys on a level that they want to talk. I understand my clients; they're my friends.
Yeah. Wow. Well,
it's very cool.
Do you go to the auctions are coming up, of course, late January there in Arizona. Do you actually go and have like a booth set up where you promote your brand?
So I have in fact, we just got accepted again for Barrett Jackson. So we do a booth at Barrett every year. I think this is our 8th year.
Okay.
1 year they did 2 during COVID. They did 2 of them, but so we just love doing it. And people at this point expect to see us there, you know, and now I have clients that are coming in from out of state, and they'll say, oh, are you going to be at Barrett? I'll see you at Barrett. And then, we usually hook up there and then meet up at some of the other events that we have. I usually bring, 10, 20 guys to Bonhams every year. And when Gooding was here, we loved going for breakfast over at Gooding and, meeting up and having just a great time with everybody, and being part of the scene, and now RM and Sotheby are together. And so that even helps me even more to be tied in with that. And so I love it when that's a crazy week for me.
How bad? How bad?
And so I'm building now inventory that I will have for auction week.
Nice.
And so I have agents that are calling me saying, hey, I'm going to have this. One called me yesterday, $8.5 million house with an 11-car garage. And so it should be coming on the market in the next month or so. Can you come down and see it? Sure. Sure.
Yeah, I'm happy to. Well, this is perfect because I would assume houses that have garages like that only appeal to this specific market. A person that doesn't have a big car collection will look at that and go, wait, I'm paying for all this square footage. And what am I going to use this for? My wife and I have a car. We might have a boat, but I don't need 10-car spot in my house. So you've aligned all those things very, very nicely to fit together. What would you say is one of the biggest challenges with selling these kinds of homes?
Finding them.
Finding the house. Okay. Yeah.
Because there's not as I said, there's 335, right now with a 5-car garage. And to your last point, when I look at a house and it has an 8-car garage and there's 8-car garage is significant, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it has a ping pong table in there and, a shuffleboard or something like that. Or they have, I looked at one that had a 15-car garage and it had a trampoline and a full gymnastics setup in the garage.
There you go.
And so we hosted an event with one of our car clubs there, and the guys were just going nuts because they're saying, do you know how many cars I can fit in here?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And meanwhile, the people that were selling the house, that was the most important thing to them was to have a full gym in there. And so when I see something like that, I walk in and see the ping pong table, and I just say, well, this guy didn't pay enough money for the house. Like he got a deal on the house and he didn't care about the garage. So, he wasn't paying extra money for that garage and somebody missed the boat.
Do you see with homes that have large garages, are the buyers really paying that much more for that garage space? Or is it such an anomaly that it just happens to be there and it doesn't make a massive difference? Because a lot of times we look at real estate as cost per square foot, and many times even the garage isn't even included in that number. So
the garage is usually not included in the square footage that they're counting, especially a detached garage is almost never included unless it has maybe a casita that they're counting as, living space as part of the garage space.
Well, basically, I was asking about when somebody's looking for, let's say I'm coming to Arizona and, okay, I want a 12-car garage. is the house going to cost that much more? It probably is a large house.
I'm sorry.
Is it going to cost that much more just because it has a larger garage? Or am I getting a little bit of a deal there?
No, so, the guy that built the garage, the homeowner that actually invested the money in, say, this 4,000 square foot RV garage, he's the one that spent the most money. And he's the one that, was so passionate about it that he had I say he, but, sometimes it's a she. He was passionate, and it was important to him to go find someone to build this custom home for them or build this custom garage for them. And, that guy spent $2, $3, sometimes $500,000 on that structure. And so then when he goes to sell that, it's really the uniqueness of what it is that allows him to charge more money. Some agents don't get that. And they just look at it and say, well, it's a 5,000 square foot house and it's sitting on an acre of land. And so these are the comps for that house. And that guy just lost $300,000 worth of investment because the agent missed the ball. They don't understand that there's a group of people that are out there looking exactly for that structure.
Oh, yeah. They exist. I've had friends that their garage is bigger than their house. So, because they don't care that much. Usually it's single guys. They don't care that much about this house size. It's more about where they keep all their things.
If I'm showing a garage house, or if I'm showing any house, the garage is usually the last part of the house. Because as soon as I bring someone who's a car guy into that garage, even if it's just a 3 or 4 car garage that has cool floor or cool paint, or maybe it's air conditioned or has a stereo in there, a TV on the wall, whatever it is. As soon as I walk them in there, their brain just kind of turned off. They stopped seeing anything else in the house.
Yeah.
And then at that point, I'm showing their wife the house.
Yep.
And so it makes me crazy. But so now I've learned I don't show them the garage until last. And I tell them that up front.
Okay. Oh, that's funny. Well, we bought the house my wife and I live in. We've been here almost 30 years. And the garage is the first thing I wanted to see. And it was a spec home. So the developer was here and he goes, "You want to look at the garage first?" And I go, "Yes."
Yeah.
And I went, "Oh my gosh, this is such a cool garage. Oh, I can do this." And then, he's like, he probably had a hook in that fish. He's like ready to fillet this guy. He's sold. I don't even have to show him anything else. But I said, well, I do have a spouse. So, the rest of the house will matter. But, well, I want to talk a little bit about you and cars because that's what brought us together. You found me or I found you. I'm not sure how we originally connected, but I kept seeing your emails and going, I got to get Peter on the show. Come on, dude. This is we got to talk. So is there a car in your past that has really stood out for you? A special vehicle?
I thought a lot about that question. And there's been quite a few. For me, the car has always been the gateway to the lifestyle that comes with it. And not to be mushy on it, but that's really what it is. If you have a motorcycle, you become part of a family. When I met my wife, I was doing track events and club racing with a sport bike. And so that was a whole world that I was into. I was hanging out with those guys and I was going to dinner with those people and socializing with them. And that's kind of the gateway that motorcycle gave me. And then I had a sports car, and it gave me after I got married, I wasn't allowed to ride on the track anymore.
Yeah, I understand. I had bikes for a while too. Yeah,
and then especially after I had my first son,
that'll do.
That was the end of that.
That'll do it. Yeah, right.
Hang
there.
it up, and the bike sat in the garage on a rug for 2 years, and then I finally broke away and sold it. Which is, I'm sure that's a common story.
Yep.
But the car is a gateway, and so it ends up being a piece of my life. I had a Volkswagen Corrado in 1992 with the first year of the VR6. And I sold that car for a down payment on my house. And then 5 years later, I bought the car back from the guy. And then I had it until the end of its life, until it had 120,000 miles on it. And somebody decided they were going to have a great party with the car and mod it out and make it into some monster. The car that really is doing it for me, and I would probably look back on it and say it was significant, is my current car, which is I have an older Porsche Boxster S. And when I bought it because I wanted my son to know how to drive a manual car.
Nice.
I wanted a car that was, really analog because we've gotten so far away from that. And I have other cars that are very technical and, of course, automatic transmissions today. And I really wanted something that was an analog car. And so when I bought that car, and I think I even sent you a picture of it, that picture is the first time I had driven a manual gearbox in 10 years.
Oh, wow.
And he was with me, took a picture of the first 3 minutes I was driving the car, and I just had a smile. If you look at the picture, you can see the for sale sign is still on the corner of the window.
Yeah, it looks like it's an '06. Is that right?
It's an '06, yeah.
And it looks like it's a speed yellow, perhaps?
It is, yeah. That's the only color you should have in that car.
Well, you picked the right thing, and you definitely have a smile on your face. I like those cars.
I love the car. I really love the car, and it's but so the Boxer, changed a lot of stuff for me because it brought me back to the car shows at a different level, where I had been sponsoring the car shows and entertaining the car shows and enjoying the car shows. Now I'm participating in the car shows. And so my wife was never really into the car side, but then we joined Porsche Club and we went on events with Porsche Club. We did overnight events and the social scene is great. And the next thing you know, she says, I love this. This is great.
Yeah.
And so, she likes that. So my son and my wife argue over who's going with me to an event. And, if we're going to the track, Luca's coming with me. And if we're going to an overnight in Sedona with Porsche Club, then Lori's coming with me.
Nice.
And so that's kind of how it works.
So this next question is a bit of a psychology test, and I might twist this up on you a little bit. What I typically ask people is, if you were reincarnated or manifest as a vehicle, what would you be? I'm going to make a switch here. If you were reincarnated as a home, what would you be?
Well, if I was a vehicle, I would be an older 911.
Okay.
And it's an analog older 911, and because it's the way I view it is it's reliable and it's focused and it's deliberate and it's passionate. And that would be my 911 side. If I were a house, I would probably be one of the houses that really put me on the map. And I'll never forget that house. It was a 4,900 square foot house with a 5,100 square foot garage. It was just beautifully done and well thought out. The house had its own acre and the garage had its own acre. They had their own septic tank. They were two separate entities. And it was just beautiful. And it didn't matter that, the house had some flaws and things that, didn't flow right. No one cared. People came from all over the country to see this house. And it was fantastic. And it was really, I think that's what it's about. The garage should be bigger than the house for a car, for a true car person. And, you got to do the stuff like the floor, and it should always be air conditioned or at least cooled in some way. And, that's free place to put your solar panels in Arizona. Everybody does that. And so there's a lot that can be done with that. But that's it.
Well, having visited Arizona and staying like in Airbnbs and stuff, it gets a little warm there, and the garages can be miserable. I would assume all these homes, and that was the question I had about cooling, because air conditioning is expensive unless you have solar, right? And then you can basically run all that for free. Is that possible?
Yeah, I mean, I have opinions on solar, but I think you should, if you're going to put solar on your house, I think you should own the solar instead of leasing the solar. But there's no reason that you can't put. I had a client that had enough solar panels on his roof that he was getting credits for the house, the garage, and his vacation home.
Nice. Yeah, sun's free in Arizona. There's lots of it.
There's a whole lot of energy coming through that.
Yeah, from that sun. How about a great book? Is there a book that you've read and enjoyed you think our listeners should crack open?
Okay, they probably already read it. I like The Art of Racing in the Rain. I thought that was a fantastic book and a great movie as well. And it was really what drew me to that, or what came out of that, was really just, the passion and the spirit. I'm sure most of your listeners have enjoyed that book.
Most recommended book here, along with AJ Bames, Go Like Hell. And both those authors, AJ and Garstein, have been guests here on the Cars Yeah podcast. So There you go. So let's go on the ultimate drive. I'm a bit of an enabler. Like you enable people to have wonderful properties and homes. I'm going to park any garage. See, garage, you can't get on my mind now.
I got to you already.
You did. You got me. I'm going to park any car in your driveway, in your garage, and you can take it for a drive anywhere you'd like with anybody you would like, including somebody from the past that perhaps is no longer with us. So what does the ultimate drive look like for you if it's on my dime?
I'm a pretty simple person when it comes to stuff like that. I would probably be enjoying something like the Copper State, and I'd probably be doing it in an early 70s 911S. Again, something very analog, something very just grounded and simple and basic. And that's kind of where I go with that. I would do that with my son, and I hope to do that with my son. Unless we're going for an overnight, then my wife will fight for it. But I think that would be wonderful. I went to my first Porsche. I bought a Cayenne GTS, and I bought it in Missouri. And my son and I flew out.
Nice.
And drove it back. We spent 5 days driving along Route 66.
Oh, perfect.
And, you just do stuff like that. And if for somebody that really understands it and understands the journey of the car life and the evolution of this thing that we do, that's there, And so all these rallies and these drives and stuff like that, they're just fantastic, and they're good for the soul.
They really are. I had a 1972 911S for a long, long time, and both my kids learned how to drive stick in that car. And my son and I did many rallies and tours. We did a 5-day tour up in Canada in that car. We drove up and down the coast here in that car, put a lot of miles on that thing. And those are memories that you got to do while your kids are young, because I tell you, they grow up and they leave. So
absolutely, absolutely,
that's the way to do it. Peter, you've taken us on a wonderful ride today. I can't thank you enough for taking time out of your busy schedule. I know that the minute we hang up, you got a house showing, so I will let you go. However, before I do, I'd wonder if you could share some parting words of wisdom or inspiration, maybe even they tie to when it comes to selecting the perfect home and the perfect property.
My parting thoughts would probably be based on the business side of it. Mm-hmm. Choosing a home is a personal thing, and it has to meet your checklist. But parting thoughts, I would say it's very simple, and it's follow your dream. And if people doubt you, they don't get it. Everybody told me for years, don't stop selling regular houses. You have to sell regular houses. And I don't want to sell regular houses. And I'm not great at selling 300 houses a year. That's not what I want to do. I'm really, I focus on what I do. I focus on my garages. I focus on my car guys, and I'm very happy with it.
Well, so many people that are successful, they niche down and they do something they're passionate and very knowledgeable on. And that's exactly what you've done. So you've proved the naysayers wrong, which I love. I love disruptors, and you're definitely been a disruptor.
Me too.
I would encourage people to follow you. How can people learn more about you and get on your mailing list so that they see what I see from you, some mouth-watering homes?
I'm everywhere as Homes #4 Car Guy. So Homes for Car Guys on YouTube is great. Instagram is a big one for us. We're everywhere as Homes for Car Guys.
There you go. Easy to find. I'll put links on Peter's show notes page. Peter, hey, thank you for spending some time with me. Next time I come down there to Arizona, which will be pretty soon, I will look you up. Maybe I can have lunch with you, or you can show me a couple crazy houses and convince me to leave the Pacific Northwest and live in the sunshine. How does that sound?
We'll do both, and we have tons of clients that have houses in both places.
There you go.
So you can go there for the summertime.
That sounds nice. Until we talk again, my friend, I'll see you down the road in no doubt a very cool garage.
Thanks for having me, Mark. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. 20, 50, or 100 years from now, will there be a workforce to care for the collector vehicles we love? With auto shop programs disappearing across the country, it's a question we enthusiasts have to ask. That's why I support the RPM Foundation, which exists to ensure that the critical skills necessary to preserve and restore these vehicles aren't lost to time. One of the many ways RPM, which is short for Restoration, Preservation, and Mentorship, is accomplishing this goal is through workforce development initiatives The RPM Apprenticeship Program enables the next generation of artisans to earn a living while they learn the craft of restoring and preserving these vehicles directly from industry professionals. The Endangered Skills Program documents the process of masters training future craftspeople on a variety of critical skills in danger of being lost forever. For more information on how the RPM Foundation is driving the future of the collector vehicle skills trade, visit RPM Foundation today. They're one of the charities of choice here on Cars Yeah!
Thank you so much for joining us on today's ride here at Cars Yeah! Drive on over to carsyeah.com to find show notes and inspiring automotive fun. Download your free copy of Filler Up, a fun book filled with gorgeous photographs of fuel filler fun, including quotes from more inspiring automotive enthusiasts. Download your copy today, and we'll see you next time on Cars Yeah!